Good morning, Chapelwood children. I wish you were right here with me in this sanctuary to see all of these banners that we're going to discuss. The first one, of course, I'm standing here with this banner, and do you recall coming into the church? I bet you don't remember how many banners we have on the walls, because you can't count them right quick, but I'll tell you anyway. There are going to be 12 of them. And they're not going to be in any kind of order except right at the beginning, and we're going to talk about Andrew. Not because it's an alphabetical one, but there is a meaning, and that's the reason that I want to talk about Andrew first. Well, Andrew was a younger brother of Peter. And the reason we know this is that when you read the Bible, you will see Peter and Andrew. And Peter's always mentioned first. And that's really how it is when you're talking about little brothers. For instance, we have a set of little brothers in Chapelwood. One is Brett, and the other one is this little brother named Luke. Now, if we wanted to talk about Brett and Luke, we would say Brett's name first because he's the oldest, and then we would talk about little Luke. Well, we're going to talk about Andrew first. There is a reason. He was the first follower of Christ. He discovered Jesus, and he went flying back to his big brother, Peter, and said, "Peter, I have found Christ. Come with me." And so that's how it started off. And that's why, even though Peter's older, I want to start with Andrew. Well, because he was first, he was given a nickname, and it was a Greek nickname named Protoletus. Now, I don't expect you to remember Protoletus. I probably won't even remember it by the time I get through teaching you these 12 disciples. But it was a Greek word, and it means the first. So, he was the first follower of Christ. Now, these disciples are in groups of 4. There are 3 different groups of 4. And we have Peter and Andrew, and we have James and John. So that's who we're going to take first, because Andrew was the first follower of Christ. Now, you notice that I call them disciples. Well, I want to tell you something. Some people say disciples, some say apostles. Well, actually, they're the same people. But when you talk about disciples, you're talking about students who are being taught by a teacher. And then it changes to apostles, because Christ, now Jesus was the teacher, and all of these other men that we have illustrated here on these banners were students of Jesus. The apostles came about when Jesus sent these people that had been taught out into the world to teach others. So that's the difference in the disciples and the apostles. Now, how can we remember Andrew being so important to Jesus? Well, now these 4 that I have already mentioned to you were very close to Jesus. But Andrew was the least closest of the 4. We don't know why that is. It just is, and it was noticed. And we don't know too much about Andrew. But I want to give you one little thing in which Andrew is known for. Do you remember the story of the 2 fish and the 5 loaves of bread? Okay, well, when the disciples went with Jesus to the mountain where they taught this big group, guess who noticed the little boy with the fish and the loaves? It was Andrew. So he noticed things quickly. So they went on, and it was discussed, well, what are they going to eat? There are so many here on the hillside, thousands. And so Andrew said, you know, I saw this little boy with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. But what in the world? We can't feed this many people with that little bit of food. But Jesus was there. Jesus can do anything. So he multiplied that food and he fed those people. So you see why I had to bring this into you, so you will know and connect Andrew with Jesus. Okay, over time, there are other stories about Andrew, but sadly, I must tell you that all of the disciples were martyrs. Is that a new word for you? I don't think so, but I will tell you that it's people who are put to death because of their beliefs. And these disciples were followers of Christ. So they were all put to death except one. And we'll probably take that one at the very end. But how did Andrew die? Now you're going to notice on this banner, we've got Andrew's name, and we have the 2 fish to represent him. But he didn't die from 2 fish. So how did Andrew die? Well, Andrew was going to be put to death with crucifixion. But he told the crowd, I don't want to be put to death like my Savior. I'm not worthy to be put to death with crucifixion on a cross like Jesus. So if I must be put to death with crucifixion, then I want to choose a different kind of cross. And so Andrew's cross is crossed, just like an X. And so that's how Andrew was put to death. It's now known, when you see that cross, as St. Andrew's cross. All right, that gets the story of Andrew that I think you can remember a little bit of, and it tells you how he died as a martyr on the cross. Since we have 12 lessons to do, I want to teach you a benediction that's very, very easy. And some of you, I bet, already know. And that's the Mizpah benediction. And it's very, very short. And it's found in the book of Genesis. And it says, May the Lord watch between me and thee while we are absent one from the other. It's a very easy benediction. And so we'll say that after each lesson that I have for you. So that is all of our lesson 1 for today on Andrew. And I want to wish you have a happy week and a safe week.